Welcome to Political Beatdown. This is the show I think I've been waiting for since we started Political Beatdown, where Donald Trump got the beatdown that he absolutely deserved, humiliated in front of the world, embarrassed in front of the nation, a beaten, defeated, wrecked, crushed human being. Vice President Kamala Harris was pitch perfect, and she just handed it to him. She was prepared, ready to go, knew just precisely the buttons to push and when. She was working on so many different levels, letting the American people know she's presidential, which we always knew, talking about policy. But from the outset, Michael Cohen, as you said, this is what you told Biden to do before he started. Yep. And she did it. You got to get under his skin right away, start talking about his small crowd sizes. You know, before the debate, you and I were talking and you were like, you brought it up right before. You were like, you know what needs to be talked about? Remember you said this? The people leaving the crowds and the low energy. And that was one of the decisive moments early in the debate where she pivoted, right? The moderators asked her a question about immigration, which we all know Donald Trump killed the bipartisan border bill to try to harm we the people. But she took that, explained it, then pivoted and said, you know what? I'm going to do something unconventional here. I want you all to watch one of those rallies and just see the small crowd sizes and see the people leaving. So, Michael Cohen, I think you've been waiting for this moment right here for years. The floor is yours,
sir. I got to tell you something, Ben. I'm a little bit shocked that the Harris-Walz campaign didn't reach out to me in terms of, Michael, what do we do to truly get under the guy's skin? Because nobody gets under his skin like I do. Nobody. And there are things that I would have said to them that they need to do. In fact, I'll tell you one of the things I would have suggested. I would have suggested that they had me attend and be in the spin room, not saying anything, not doing anything, just my presence there alone would have gotten back to him immediately. Oh my God, Cohen's in the spin room. Michael Cohen's in the spin room. That would have thrown him off his game right from the beginning. Very much like what Trump ended up doing when he was debating Hillary Clinton, and he had the three women that Bill Clinton had sexual relations with sitting in the front row. You remember that one? That's what I would have done. Don't say anything, Cohen. Don't do anything. Just be there with us. All right? Just be a part of the team. Speak nothing, say nothing, do nothing. Just be there, because your presence alone would unnerve him. And it would have. And it would have. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they didn't do that. But they Scaramucci was there, which I know got back to him and he wasn't happy about. But me being there would have been like each trying to bite a pebble, right? When you just had your teeth done.
Well, you know, in terms, though, of them reaching out, you did provide a roadmap on Political Beatdown of what your suggestions were. And this is one of the most watched shows in
By the way, congratulations. By the way, I'm going to interrupt you here because you don't brag about yourself and about this network. In fact, what was it? 2 or 3 of the podcasts on this network, Midas Touch Network, mine included, thanks to so many of you, mea culpa, number 8, but Meiselas brothers, I believe, was what? Number 2.
Yep.
No, number 2. The number 2 biggest audience in all of liberal news, politics, and media was Meiselas brothers. Number 8, mea culpa. Both here on Midas Touch Network. Were there others that were also on the top 10?
You know, the interesting thing, Cohen, too, is I don't believe they are including any YouTube at all in that.
No, they are not.
And that's just the audio numbers. And also, as our viewers know, while I think I have a number of views and perspectives that could be viewed as liberal or progressive. Quite
By
a
the way,
few.
people are asking, who is number one? Pod Save America.
Yeah, Pod Save is number one. But again, the analysis
the
was
Midas Touch podcast.
Yeah, the analysis though was just the audio numbers, because if we were to include our YouTube numbers, those would definitely
Number
be
6 was Rachel Maddow. I just want people to understand I want them to understand just how incredible this community, this Midas Touch network community is. So here's how we get to number one across the board. And I don't even care. Well, actually, I do, but I'm not going to admit it. That Midas Touch, right, was number 2, and Mea Culpa was number 8. Fuck that. I mean, right? How about if each and every one of you tell a friend to immediately subscribe to every podcast on the Midas Touch Network. Subscribe to the Midas Touch podcast, to Mea Culpa podcast. We will be number 1 and 2, even above all of the others. And that would be a major help. But what it'll also do is it will help to take this network to a whole nother level. Another level of creating a bigger community, as we are now. I know this is going to shock the shit out of many of you. 54 days until doomsday. 54.
That's 54 days until doomsday, or 54 days until we save our democracy. And after that debate, I'm confident it will be the latter. But, Cohen, there's a few observations, and I appreciate you bringing up the network. And also,
you don't really take enough credit. And you're not a self-promoter. You're not. You're an incredible network exec, but you don't pat yourself like other people that maybe I had worked with in the past. You don't really pat yourself enough on the diaper, my friend. Though, quite frankly, very soon you're going to be changing quite a few diapers.
Any day now, we are moments away from. I mean, it could happen while we're on the show. It's my wife's due date any moment. Her due date's actually the 16th, so any moment now, including in this show. And so,
speaking of due, you know what do? I have it in my pants right now. It's in my diaper. Quite frankly, it's the best doo I've ever had.
A few observations, Cohen, about the debate and how disqualifying it should be in normal times for Donald Trump. I mean, look, he looked like, because he is psychotic. I mean, the moment where he's talking about eating cats and eating your dog, they're eating your cats, they're eating your pets, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Hey, Ben, I'm sorry, Ben, whose voice was that?
That was my attempt at a Donald Trump debate.
Okay, I'm just checking. Please go ahead. I apologize.
And by the way, if people hear things in the background, we're building a baby crib, and there's a lot of activity taking place.
By the way, did you secure your dogs? Are they hidden away in the safe room?
The dogs, the cats, the geese, the ducks, everything is. We're taking a look at it, but it also showed how easy he could be manipulated, because all it took was her to talk about crowd sizes, and she telegraphed that was going to be her plan. So just think about how world leaders manipulate him. Think about how MBS and Putin and Kim Jong-un and Maduro and Viktor Orban manipulate him, right? All it takes is, you have the biggest crowd sizes. What can we do for you? Then Trump will respond, let me do anything for you. So there was that aspect, but also too, again, he accuses the moderators of cheating. It was 3-on-1. Woe is me. It's unfair. The right-wing media ecosystem then is like, oh, he won. What are we talking about? That was great. That was amazing. And so what I think it highlighted on so many different levels, not simply that she crushed him, not simply that he lost so big, not simply that he was humiliated, but I do hope that independents, former Republicans, undecided, are not just watching the debate, watching what happened within the debate, but also post-debate, and how Donald Trump behaves. Like, look at this post, Cohen, that he made moments before we got on the show. He goes the following: when a prize fighter loses a fight, the first words out of his mouth are, "I want a rematch." Polls clearly show that I won the debate against Comrade Kamala Harris, the Democrats' radical left candidate, on Tuesday night. And she immediately called for a second debate. She and Crooked Joe have destroyed our country. Wah, 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 wah. Everyone knows this. Wah, 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 wah. And then it goes on to say she was a no-show at the Fox debate. She refused to do NBC and CBS. Kamala should focus on what she should have done during the last almost 4-year period. There will be no third debate. And he's been posting this all morning. He's also been posting photos of himself holding cats over and over again, cats for Trump, AI images, and this has real impacts on the Haitian community, not just in Ohio, but across the country. A hardworking, incredible Haitian community that's come here to provide incredible services and hope for their families. They're now in, lots of Haitians are in hiding because of the death threats they're receiving. City Hall in Springfield, Ohio, got death threats. And Trump is just posting this and just doing this over and over again. This has real world implications as well. And it's just embarrassing. There was this CNN undecided voter who said, you know what? The reason I'm supporting Vice President Kamala Harris is because she behaves like a human being and Donald Trump doesn't. I want to get all of your reaction to that, Cohen.
Well, the only thing that I think would have been funny is if we had Sylvester Stallone there, right, turning around and going, "Ain't going to be no rematch. Don't want one," right, from Rocky 1. I got to be honest with you. When I heard him, I kept saying to friends and family before the debate, when they asked me the question, you think he's going to go back to this stupid shit about Haitians and Springfield, Ohio, and eating cats and dogs and so on? I said, no fucking way. No way at all. We're talking about a presidential debate. He is on the biggest stage right now in the world. He is on the most important stage for him and the campaign. There is no way in the world that he is going to be this stupid and bring it up. And then lo and behold, I was wrong. And I admit sometimes when I'm wrong. In fact, I admit quite a bit when I'm wrong. It's not as often as it used to be, but I am wrong. I've said that he wouldn't, and as sure as shit, he comes out, and he doesn't just come out with this whole eating dogs and cats and Haitians and Springfield, Ohio, and all. He doesn't just do that. Did you see the anger and the sort of frustration and the visceral manner to which he expressed this sentiment towards, yet again, another marginalized community? We're talking about the Haitian, a very small population, especially in Springfield, Ohio. And it's so easy for him to just attack these small groups of people, which he just seems to do and relishes over again and again and again. In fact, if you think about it, I don't think there are too many communities in the entire country that Donald Trump at some point in time has not marginalized, has not denigrated, whether it's women, whether it's Black people. You may recall when he turned around and said 107% of all Black jobs are being stolen by illegal migrants. 107%. Because very smart people, quite frankly, have told me that 107%. Huh? Then you turn around and remember right off the golden escalator in 2015 when he made the announcement about Mexicans. He then went on to talk about later on about, I don't know, white Southern Christian nationalists marching down the streets of Charlottesville. Right? Jews will not replace us. And the fact that if there are any Jews who vote for Kamala Harris, they hate Israel. It's an interesting way to look at it. And he goes on and on and on. In fact, when he turns around and says, I didn't know that Kamala Harris was Black. I thought that she was Indian. Interesting, because she's always identified as an Indian and not as black. I don't know. How many more communities is he going to attack and denigrate and think that they're going to vote for him? Because why? No, seriously, because why? What does he bring to the table that they could relate to other than hatred, divisiveness, lies, misinformation, disinformation, malinformation? I don't know.
So Cohen, the Kamala Harris campaign is trolling him now with this. They posted LOL. Let me show you what they posted. Let's take a look at this video cut that they made.
What I can tell you is Donald Trump has been preparing for this his entire life. He always is prepared, and he's ready to take Kamala Harris head on that stage.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
President Trump is well prepared for the debate tomorrow night. That is right. He doesn't need traditional debate prep.
You have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically.
It's imagine like a boxer trying to prepare for Floyd Mayweather or Muhammad Ali.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
You know, and we're seeing viral videos like this all around of people watching, you know, what Donald Trump said. Here, Jeremy, let's play that next one on our list.
Talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs.
You know, there's even a viral song about this now, mocking him. Let's play that.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. 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 They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
And ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
People on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television said my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people on television said the dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
Talk about extreme.
How good was that?
I mean, talk about funny as hell. Look, there's nothing funny about, well, actually, it is. When you're laughing at Donald Trump on this level of stupidity, you know, if we saw that on Saturday Night Live, we may turn around and say that the writers of Saturday Night Live deserve an Emmy because it may be the funniest shit I think anybody has ever heard. But what makes it so sad is that this is actually our reality. This is what we're living with right now. We're living with a man who is the Republican nominee. He's the nominee of one of the two political parties in our country, who is sitting there and talking on the greatest stage in the world about a community that is lurking around your house in Springfield, Ohio, stealing your cats, your dogs, your pets, and eating them. And maybe now he's going to say, I was being sarcastic. It's called sarcasm, David. And you know it. No. It is, yes, it is extreme crazy. You know, if it wasn't that Trump is the Republican nominee, if his name wasn't Donald Trump, his ass would be in a straitjacket in a padded cell. Because that's the kind of psychosis that we're talking about right now.
I got a question for you, Michael Cohen. So yesterday at the 9/11 memorial, Donald Trump kind of tapped Michael Bloomberg to get Vice President Kamala Harris's attention. Then Donald Trump went to shake her hand, and he did it in a way that also looked very weak. Do you think he's starting to kind of prep for the stage where he's going to be begging for a pardon? Did you read into that the way I did?
No. I do want to say, and I was public in saying this as well right afterwards, that I give Mike Bloomberg lots of kudos for putting the two. If we have the clip, I think it's worth showing. Let me say that she would have ignored him, which is really the right thing for her to have done at this point in time. There's no reason for her to acknowledge him. But Donald wanted her to acknowledge him, and she was gracious about it too. But it was all at the behest of Michael Bloomberg. And I thought it was the right thing. You know, they're there on hallowed ground. A terrible, terrible thing in 2001, 24 years ago. So it was the right thing for the two. Put aside your differences. And I know that's hard for Trump to do. Put aside any differences, any animus that you may have. You're not there for you. You're there out of respect for those innocent people who died in the worst tragedy that has taken place in this country's land in decades. So good for Mike Bloomberg, and I applaud him. I applaud him for doing what he did. And in fact, I applaud both Kamala and Donald for doing exactly that.
You know, Michael Cohen, when I was watching the debate, there were some other kind of key moments as well that I thought, she did an incredible job. Just she'd get the question, then she would pivot and she would go on the attack. And one of those lines I thought is where, she said to him, "The generals and our military are laughing at you. They say what a disgrace you were. And what you should also know as well is that Putin and Orban and all these dictators, they think that you're a joke. They think that you could be so easily manipulated by flattery.
Where do you think that? I'm sorry. Where do you think that they all heard those lines before? Right here on Political Beatdown. How long have we been saying the same exact thing? We've been saying exactly this when Joe Biden was going to be preparing for the debate. These are the things you and I talked about going back since almost the day that we started this program. The fact that you need to call him out for what he is, a joke, and what people are looking at him as a joke. She took it to even a better level. I never identified each individual, though I did once turn around in the press and say that Vladimir Putin looks at him like a lamb chop. All right, that he looks at him like just a piece of meat that he could toss on the grill. There's nothing to him. That he's what's called in the world of espionage a useful idiot. That's what he is. And yes, he is an American disgrace.
We have that clip. I had Democratic Congress member Jared Moskowitz on yesterday, and Moskowitz, I think, framed brilliantly. He said, look, Trump knew what the strategy was going to be, as did Vice President Kamala Harris. She told him what the strategy was going to be. Let me show you this. Let's play it.
And to think, right, like Kamala's strategy wasn't a hidden strategy. They were literally telling people, hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to try to get under Donald Trump's skin. This is the strategy. We're going to get under his skin and we're going to let Donald be Donald. And the flip side of that, the Donald Trump strategy was also very public. We're going to make sure we don't let her get under our skin. And literally 11 minutes in, she goes crowd size. And he goes, Viktor Orban, they're eating puppies and cats. Abdul, concepts of plans, executing babies. It was like diarrhea of the mouth as soon as she said crowd size. I can't actually recall telegraphing your plan, letting your opponent know what your plan is, your opponent prepping against your plan, and then within a second of launching your plan, your opponent falling for it immediately.
Here's what Bill O'Reilly and Geraldo had to say about the debate. And they're Trump guys. Here, play this clip.
I mean, they talk about migrants eating dogs and cats. I mean, that's something Saturday Night Live would do. Why would you even bother to do that?
He was childish. He was creepy. He was cringy. That thing about eating dogs, they eat dogs. He was obsessed with it. He wouldn't let it go. He put that bone in his mouth and he rattled it. And I thought that she withstood Hurricane Trump. She came across as competent, even confident after that first half hour, which I agree with you, Trump, that was definitely his best half hour. Then he just descended into chaos. He couldn't make a straight point. He kept returning to generalizations as thinking that through braggadocio alone that he could prevail. He was terrible tonight. And you can apologize for him all you want, but he did not seem presidential. He wouldn't even have made the debate team at a junior high.
Good for them for calling out.
Kind of rough statements from two people who have supported Donald Trump in the past, but they're not the only ones. There was a few others there on Fox News, blanking on his name, but he
Neil Cavuto.
Neil Cavuto, that's what I'm thinking.
Britt Hume.
Yeah, and they all came out and they said basically the exact same thing, that Donald Trump shit the pooch. That this was, in fact, worse of a performance than even Joe Biden in the debate against Donald Trump. Now, here's something I want to pose to you, Ben Meiselas. Here's something I want to pose to you. As soon as that debate with Joe Biden and Donald Trump was over, both sides, Republicans and Democrats, came out and they said, he's got to go. Joe Biden has to go. Republicans saying that he has dementia. They started really trying to get knocked below the belt and so on, and started attacking him as a person. Republicans turned around and just tried to eviscerate Joe Biden. Democrats, of course, turned around and said, listen, he looked terrible. He performed terribly. We really think that he needs to consider the party, the country, over self-interest. And what did Joe Biden do? He did exactly that. He put country and party over self. And that's why we have Kamala Harris. And we all know the momentum is on Harris walls. My question to you, Ben, is how come nobody is doing the same thing in regard to Trump? This was as Geraldo said, a cringy, a weird, a disgusting, a gross display of not just incompetence, but what did he say? But garbage, right? Coming straight out of Donald Trump's mouth. Nonsense, complete nonsense. This is not presidential. And those are, say, not exactly verbatim, but those are the words of Geraldo Rivera and others. So my question is, why are others not doing the same exact thing? And it goes right back to when, they've done that to certain Democrats in the past, right? Like Al Franken.
Yep.
They go right at the Democrats, but Republicans seem to get a pass. And my question is, why is the country not calling for Trump to step aside?
Well, they're graded by different curves. On the one hand, Vice President Kamala Harris or Joe Biden have to be perfect. They have to hit it out of the park every time, nuanced on policy, lay out the vision clearly, be perfect orators, or else it's deemed a total failure. On the other hand, if Donald Trump gets up and behaves like a human being, he's graded on a kindergarten scale. As long as he behaves like an adult for several minutes, that is deemed success there. Now, that just demonstrates that our overall system is an absolute failure where that is what's taking place. But that's because of both sidesism journalism. I often sometimes refer to it as like growing up, if you remember Nintendo, there was something called Game Genie, which would, no matter what, add computer assistance. So the games were always close no matter what. And you could turn computer assistance on or computer assistance off. But once computer assistance was on, it would always be a close game no matter how well you played. And that's the horse race that they want for ratings. You and I in the Midas Touch Network are trying to change that, because the only horse race that I want is a race where we all benefit as we, the people, as Americans, economically. We all benefit and treated equally. We all have our freedoms and we all have our rights. But let's talk about all of that. I want to take our first quick break of the show. I want to remind everybody, though, about Michael Cohen's new YouTube channel that's crushing it, at The Michael Cohen Show. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's free to subscribe to that YouTube channel, at The Michael Cohen Show. Also, patreon.com/political beatdown is a place where we do after shows from time to time, and we hold Zoom meetings. So if you want to meet Michael Cohen on our next Zoom meeting, we'll announce it soon. Patreon.com/political beatdown. And it helps grow this show, helps grow this platform, because we don't have outside investors. Let's take our first and only quick break of the show.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know, as adults, we sometimes get caught up in the day-to-day grind that we lose touch with what the sense of wonder that we had as kids. But what if I told you that your back to school era doesn't have to end when you leave the classroom? You see, therapy can help you reconnect with that curiosity, that sense of discovery, because it's never too late to start learning new things, whether it's picking up a new hobby or learning a new language or just figuring out how to navigate life's challenges better. So even if you haven't tried therapy yourself, you've probably seen how it can help others develop positive coping skills, set boundaries, and become the best version of themselves. Therapy isn't just for those who've been through major trauma, like me. It's a tool for anyone looking to improve their mental and or emotional well-being. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, BetterHelp is a great option. It's all online, making it super convenient and flexible to fit your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched up with a licensed therapist, and even if you ever want to switch therapists, you can do that at no extra charge. So rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/beatdown today to get 10%. Yeah, that's 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/beatdown.
Welcome back. We're here on Political Beatdown. You know, you raised the question, why isn't all of the media calling for Donald Trump to leave the race? They should. You remember there was editorial after edit. I think New York Times devoted like 10 editorials, 5 to 10 editorials.
Front page, Ben, of virtually every newspaper
for 3 straight weeks.
Yes.
And by the way, you know, my argument regarding President Biden was never he did a great debate. If everybody remembers, as soon as that debate was over, what did I say? I said that was a really bad debate by him. I also said it was a very bad debate by Donald Trump as well. I said that they both did very badly. My argument about President Biden is that he was surrounded by great people, like Vice President Kamala Harris, from his defense secretary to all of his cabinet members. And then I talked about the actual results and data. So my argument was really bad debate. And he was once a much better debater. However, I think that he demonstrated leadership based on all of these other criteria and characteristics. Then I listed it, but I never said that was an amazing, he crushed it. He won that debate. And while we did mention some of the people who were honest that Donald Trump had a bad debate, there's almost no voices other than Moskowitz mocking it and people who are mocking Trump saying that he should withdraw from the race. But there's no major media networks out there saying that he needs to leave, he needs to withdraw, the same way it was for Biden. And in fact, overwhelmingly, what's the coverage on Fox and right-wing media? they're saying, oh, this was 3-on-1. You've got people closest to Trump, one of his top surrogates, Laura Loomer, making posts that she was wearing like an ear, that Vice President Kamala Harris was wearing an earring that was giving her the answers before, Donald Trump whining that it was a 3-on-1. It's the same thing as when Trump lost the election or loses anything, right? He comes up with ways to lie over and over again, and he doesn't accept, and the right-wing media won't be honest and just say, you know what? He lost badly. Now, Cohen, if they wanted to have an honest argument about it, what they could say is, look, he lost the debate. He did really bad. However, would be their argument. We just think life is too complicated right now. So we want a wannabe strongman who will align himself with Russia and Hungary and Kim Jong-un. And that's what we like about Trump. And we like the fact that he says the worst things and that he wants to destroy America and destroy the whole system. Or we think he's going to have an oligarchy and wealthy people want that. If they want to have an honest conversation, then do that. Right. But they don't. They gaslight us.
I have a completely different view on what I think that Trump's spin should have been. You cannot turn around and make an argument, which he did the same when he lost to Hillary Clinton. I remember that debate very, very well at Hofstra University here in Long Island, New York. And the first thing that he came out yelling and screaming was that the debate was fixed, that Hillary Clinton was given the questions in advance. Well, lo and behold, right back to the same playbook we go. Here we go, right? Right back to the same playbook. And ends up saying about Kamala Harris, she was given all the questions in advance. And then, that's not enough. He needs to come up with another conspiracy. That her earring, one of the two earrings, was actually not an earring, but rather it was a device that she was able to communicate with somebody backstage or in a spin room or something who were feeding her the answers in real time. I mean, seriously. I mean, I get it. I get it, Donald. He's unable to acknowledge any loss ever. It's just outside of the realm of reality for him. He lives in a world where anything and everything he does is the best. Here's the problem for Donald with that sort of ideology. Nobody else thinks so. Right. Judy, he's a loser, right? You know, I'm fed up with Trump. Alessandro, we all feel the same way. And that's why this community, why I talk about Midas Touch Network all the time. This is a community, unlike anything that you see on mainstream media or cable news or what have you. This is actually a community where we're engaging with each and every one of you as this program is ongoing. We don't ignore you. We hear what you have to say, like Maureen, who doesn't care for me. That's okay. The point of the matter is, what we need to all do is not allow these lies to be perpetuated, to be regurgitated over and over and over again by the fake news media. And I'm talking about Fox, OAN, Newsmax. I can't believe that News Nation, that's predominantly leaning right of center.
Yep.
I cannot believe that you had two people, if not more. I think Chris Cuomo actually came out and said something very similar as well on News Nation, that enough becomes enough here. And I like the fact that he said the same thing that I said. I didn't see it in advance when I said this should be a Saturday Night Live skit. You don't have to do anything other than repeat his words for this thing to win an Emmy, because it's that batshit crazy and it's that funny. It's funny, stupid. Like when you see somebody trip and fall and you have a nervous laugh. That's what this is. It's a nervous laugh.
I always like to say, don't tell me what I saw. Just let me see it. Right? And the whole corporate media with their panels or just their outright propaganda is structured in a way to try to tell me what it is that I can see and I can observe. And our whole philosophy at this network is not, I'm going to be liberal or progressive or conservative. It's just, I want to be fact-based, data-driven, and I want to lead with what I'm watching. So when Donald Trump is the leader of a major political party today, the MAGA Republican Party, and he's posting weirdo photos of cats and kittens for Trump and spreading horrific lies about real patriotic people in this country, that they're eating people's pets and dogs and cats and putting people's lives in danger, and posting photos of Black people chasing him while he's holding cats, and even broadening the racism beyond even the Haitian community to just Black people generally. I can look at that and go, don't tell me that's Trump being Trump and, oh, he's just being funny. No, that's not. If anybody behaved like that in any other aspect of my life, from the mail person to a leader of a business that I was a part of, to a professor at a school that taught, to a mid-sized business, a large-sized business, a social gathering, if someone behaved like this in a fantasy football league or some other social club, I'd be like, that person is a freaking psychopath. So why do I drop those standards when we're talking about the most important position in the world? It's absolute freaking madness. And it's that madness where the Midas Touch Network began, because I was like, what the hell am I watching here? So an example of that, though, with the outright propaganda is when I'm watching Fox and seeing what they're trying to do. And I was wondering, how are they going to, is there a cat in the background? I'm wondering, I'm hearing
I have all these cats, Benz, that are freaking out right now because we keep talking about, the Haitians coming to get them. So I don't have cats in my house, but somehow or another, they were all at the door. They were ringing the doorbell.
I'm living like an epic Ben rant here. I'm here like, it's, so there's a one shot on me, so I can't even see that you're pranking me, and I'm hearing in the background.
I mean, you have to admit it's that stupid. And the fact that this guy is actually, according to mainstream media, still even in the race, it really goes and it says a lot about us as a country. The fact that we could even take serious somebody who's a leader like this, somebody who starts throwing out names like, he's dropping names like a 10-year-old. Viktor Orban. You all heard of Viktor Orban? I don't understand this obsession with Viktor Orban that he has. I really, truly don't. But honestly, it's enough. It's truly enough already. And the stupidity didn't stop with the dogs and the cats. This schmuck, there's no other way to describe him. This fucking schmuck. Go. This fucking schmuck. Now
were you meowing or were you using a sound to meow when I was?
No, that was me. That was me. This schmuck and a half goes ahead, and what does he do? He now attacks Taylor Swift. With all due respect to Donald Trump and his overinflated ego, not only is she an incredible singer, not only is she an incredible artist, she's an icon. And she's revered by young people, by Gen Z, and by us out the cockers, us old people. I enjoy her music a lot. You know why? Because my kids enjoy it. And, one day I'm sure my grandkids will enjoy it. She's an icon. And why is he attacking her? Because he thinks that she is, as a female, weak and susceptible. And here's what she showed him. Me think not. In fact, she went ahead and she basically kicked him in the head when he was on his knees and laid this asshole right out. And good for her. And good for people like Stevie Nicks that came to Taylor Swift's. He's bringing up a fight, Ben, that he cannot win. And there's nobody in his camp that has the balls to turn around and to tell him, knock the shit off. See, I would have been that guy. Knock it off. You're making an asshole out of yourself, and you will lose the election because you are right now isolating every single group that is out there, from blacks, Haitians, Mexicans, Jews, females, blah, 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 blah.
And he can't help himself because that's who he is. And it's pathological. So then J.D. Vance goes on Fox, and then J.D. Vance basically attacks Taylor Swift after she endorses Vice President Kamala Harris. Here's J.D. Vance doing that. Let's play it.
How do you speak to women voters who obviously they care about what she thinks?
Of course. Well, look, we admire Taylor Swift's music, but I don't think most Americans, whether they like her music or fans of hers or not, are going to be influenced by a billionaire celebrity who I think is fundamentally disconnected from the interests and the problems of most Americans. Look,
is he talking about Donald Trump?
That's what I was going to say. A billionaire, right? Celebrity. I mean, who's fundamentally disconnected from the American people. Doesn't sound like Taylor Swift to me, my man.
I couldn't agree. I'm going to go give our producers that video that we made where we show all of the statements that J.D. Vance makes like that. But how weird. I mean, he's on Fox, right? The guy is wearing eyeliner. I mean, which for a guy that attacks all these, he's wearing eyeliner right there. He's attacking Taylor Swift who on Fox, and he's being asked the question that he's being asked is, well, just what are you doing to reach out to women voters when he's already called the biggest threat? He says the biggest threat to democracy is childless cat ladies. And then he goes into that deeper and he goes, I want to apologize to the cats, not to the whole thing, Cohen, is incredibly just dystopian and bizarre right there. What do you make of it? I'm going to go get our producers right now, though, this J.D. Vance thing, because it's a cool video we made.
It's amazing. What am I making out of this whole thing? Again, they think that they control all the levers of power. They think that Donald is still president of the United States and that he's going to be able to do things that no other president in the 44 presidents that preceded him ever even thought about doing. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. Nobody ever thought to do or to say the things that Donald Trump says, even if hypothetically they thought it. They had the impulse control not to come out and to say it. Not only does Donald Trump have that problem, but he found a vice presidential idiot who is exactly the same flawed personality that he is. These two together have no filter. Now, it's bad enough if you're even thinking about it, but who the hell would know what you're thinking about if it doesn't come out of your mouth? They have no filter. They think that women belong at home and pregnant. They don't believe that women should have rights, let alone forgetting about over their reproductive decision-making. I've heard that J.D. Vance at one point was talking about how he doesn't even think that women should be allowed to vote. And I'm shocked that he has a wife. I'm shocked she doesn't beat the shit out of him. Who says something so stupid and so reckless and so idiotic and so this and I mean, there's a million adjectives that we could end up. You know what? I'm going to use this moment right now. Once again, I hate to say it. The two-finger salute last week, the other day, went to Donald Trump. Today, Shady Vance for being the fucking jerk off that he is, to being the unfiltered fool, eyelining couch fucking moron that he is. All right. The misogynist, the sexist, the anti-Semite, the racist, the Islamophobe, the transgenderphobe, the homophobe. To you, shady fuck, fucking Vance. All right? Fuck you.
Here, by the way, is that compilation that we made at the Midas Touch Network. Shout out to our editorial team. Let's play it.
But I don't think most Americans are going to be influenced by a billionaire celebrity who I think is fundamentally disconnected from the interests and the problems of most Americans. I think if you watch the debate, you're sitting at home, you're an undecided voter, what you saw is a person who repeats slogans.
We're going to make America great again.
Drill, baby, drill.
Instead of respecting you enough to treat you like an adult.
I just don't understand a person in American politics in 2024 who's whining about what happened to them instead of using their leadership and using their influence to make the lives of American citizens better.
And we would have had a deal if the election weren't rigged and stolen.
I'd like to know how you were prepping for a debate with Tim Walz, who has described himself as a bad debater. Who's helping you, and how are you prepping?
Well, I found a good friend from back home who embellishes and lies a lot, and I'm having him stand in for Tim Walz.
People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics.
And we're not going to reward people who gaslight us and lie to us about what they've done in office.
We were hit with the COVID came in. We focused on that. We did a great job.
What a great video. So here's what I'm going to do I want to remind everybody about your YouTube at the Michael Cohen Show. Everybody check that out. Make sure you subscribe there. Patreon.com/Political Beatdown. Make sure you join that. We'll announce soon a Zoom meeting where you could meet Michael Cohen and ask him questions. It really helps grow this platform. So if you can join it, it goes a long way to help, especially since we don't have outside investors here like our competition does. Store.MidasTouch.com. Get all that pro-democracy gear, including the Mea Culpa Mar-a-Lardo Correctional Facility shirt, or should I say exhibit, that was used to cross-examine Michael Cohen in the case where Donald Trump was convicted on 34 separate felony counts. That's store.MidasTouch.com. Go and check that out as well. I mentioned the Mea Culpa Blue. You're doing the cat noise again. That's how I would want to be debate prepped. The way I'd want to be debate prepped is hearing cat noises while I'm trying to get my thoughts out, and we'll see how I could perform there. And I want to play this for everybody one more time because I know you all love this beat, and I thought the people who created this did such a good job of that moment where Donald Trump talked about how people lying, that people were eating cats and dogs. So let's play that one more time to play us out.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. 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 They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
And ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
People on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television said my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people on television said the dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
Talk about extreme.
I want to remind everybody that there will be a new episode of the Midas Touch podcast, the show I do with my brothers, tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We'll see you there live. Remember again to subscribe to Mea Culpa Blue, which is also in the top 10 list. Search that. Everybody, we've got a lot of work to do for democracy. Let's keep on growing this platform together. Please, the best way you can help is just share this network with others. Share this show with people. Even if it's just one person today, that will help grow this network. Because once people watch this, as you all know, people go, that's what I was looking for. Let's grow together. Thank you, Beatdown Brigaders. Shout out to you all, and shout out to the Midas Mighty.